Elias was a humble farmer. The sun beat down on his weathered face. His hands knew the feel of the earth. They were strong, calloused hands. Every day he toiled from dawn till dusk. The land was his entire world, his inheritance. But the land did not always give back generously. It often withheld its bounty, remaining stubborn. He prayed for gentle rain. He prayed for a harvest to feed his family. Their survival depended completely on his efforts. He carried this heavy burden silently. His wife Sophia watched him from their small porch. She saw the lines of worry etched deep around his eyes. Their little house stood bravely at the edge of the vast fields. It was a simple home, filled with love but few comforts. Chickens pecked at the dry ground nearby. Their children, young and innocent, played with simple toys. Life was a cycle of hard work and quiet hope. They often dreamed of a little more, just a small measure of ease from the constant struggle. They wished for a future with less uncertainty. Mateo, their eldest son, was still a boy. Yet his eyes held a wisdom beyond his years. He observed his father's tired posture at the end of each day. He noticed his mother's carefully mended dress, a testament to their poverty. He felt the unspoken weight of their daily struggles. The taste of dust from the dry fields was a constant companion. The chill of lean seasons when harvests were poor was familiar too. He understood their silent fears for the future. He carried these burdens quietly within his young heart. One evening, as twilight painted the sky, Mateo gazed at the distant stars. They seemed to shimmer with ancient secrets, so far away. He made a solemn promise that night, a vow to himself, a promise to the silent, watchful land, a promise to his weary, loving parents. He would change their lives for the better. He would bring them comfort and lasting security. He would dedicate himself to work. He would seek knowledge. He would not let the harshness of their life win. This was his sacred vow. Mateo yearned to learn with all his being. He had seen books in the small market town. He believed they held important secrets. Secrets that could unlock a brighter future. The village school was many miles away from their farm. The path leading to it was long and often muddy. He did not own fine shoes like some other children. Only a pair of old worn sandals protected his feet. But his spirit was resilient and strong. His desire for education burned within him like a steady flame. Every morning he would rise before the sun peeked over the horizon. He helped his father Elias in the demanding fields. The cool mud would squelch between his toes. The sun would climb higher, beating down relentlessly. Only then, after his chores, would he begin his long walk. He walked for hours under the open sky to reach the humble one-room schoolhouse. He often arrived feeling tired from the journey. But his mind was always alert and eager. He was ready to absorb every word his teacher spoke. At night, their small home had no bright electric lights, only the soft, flickering glow of a single candle. He would read his borrowed books by its weak, dancing light. His eyes would often strain in the dimness. His father would watch him with a mix of pride and concern. His mother would whisper quiet prayers for his success. He studied numbers that could measure the land. He learned letters that formed inspiring words. He discovered a world beyond their familiar fields. He held on to his precious dream fiercely. He worked while others in the village slept peacefully. Some days doubt would try to creep into his mind. The farm work was so hard and unending. The daily walk to school felt impossibly long. Was he being foolish to dream so big? He would then look at his father's toil-worn hands. He would remember his mother's gentle, encouraging smile. His resolve would return, stronger than before. He could not give up on his quest. He was a farmer's son, after all. He knew the meaning of endurance and patience. Years passed in this steady rhythm of life. Work in the fields, walk to school, study, dream. Mateo grew taller, his shoulders broadened. His mind also grew, becoming sharper and more curious. His teachers at the small school noticed his inner fire. They saw his unwavering dedication and his thirst for knowledge. He was always asking thoughtful questions. He always wanted to understand more, to delve deeper. He was not just passively learning facts. He was actively preparing himself for a different future. A future he was determined to create with his own hands. One morning, a small, hopeful notice appeared on the school's worn wooden board. It announced a scholarship to a prestigious school in the big city, a chance for higher learning, for real advancement. It was a very rare and precious opportunity. Many bright students from all around would surely apply. Mateo's heart began to beat faster with anticipation. This could be the pathway he had been searching for, the path he had prayed for in his quiet moments, the path that could change everything for his family. He knew with certainty that he had to try. He dedicated himself to studying harder than he ever had before. He pored over his old textbooks day and night. He practiced his writing, forming careful, neat letters. He felt the unspoken hope of his entire family. It was a gentle, reassuring pressure on his young shoulders, a loving expectation that fueled his determination. The day of the difficult examination finally arrived. He wrote with a hand that was surprisingly steady. He answered each question with a mind that was clear and focused. He left the rest to destiny, and to the fruits of his relentless hard work. Weeks later, a letter arrived, bearing an official seal. His hands trembled slightly as he took it from the postman. His family gathered around him, watching with bated breath. The words on the page seemed to leap out at him. He had won the scholarship. Pure, uncontainable joy erupted in their small, humble home. Tears of happiness flowed freely from everyone's eyes. Elias hugged his son tightly, his voice thick with emotion. Sophia whispered heartfelt thanks to the heavens above. Matteo was on his way to a new beginning. The city was a vast new world for Matteo. It was full of loud noises and countless new faces. He studied agricultural science with great passion. He learned modern ways to cultivate the land, ways to make the earth yield more, to be more generous. He also learned about business principles, how to manage resources and sell their produce fairly. He missed the quiet fields and his familiar home, but he worked with a clear and unwavering purpose. He worked for them, his beloved family, for their future, free from hardship. Years later, Matteo returned to his village. He was a young man now, transformed by his experiences, confident in his knowledge and newly acquired skills. But his heart remained as humble as the earth he came from. He saw the familiar fields waiting patiently. He saw his parents, their faces showing the passage of time. He was ready to fulfill the vow he had made so long ago. He brought with him new types of seeds. He brought innovative ideas and techniques. He brought hope, now made tangible and real. He was the change he had promised. He taught his father the new farming techniques he had learned. They worked together, father and son, side by side. The land seemed to respond eagerly to their dedicated care. The harvests became more plentiful than ever before. Their small farm began to flourish and prosper. Soon, it was known as the best, most productive farm in the entire valley. Other farmers from nearby villages came to learn from Matteo. He shared his knowledge generously and freely with everyone. He helped his whole community to grow and succeed. He lifted everyone around him. Their little house was repaired and expanded. It became a comfortable, welcoming home for all of them. Laughter, light, and warmth filled its rooms once more. Sophia no longer had to spend her evenings mending old, worn clothes. Elias's back seemed straighter, his steps lighter, his eyes shone with immense pride whenever he looked at his son. Matteo had brought them lasting joy and true stability. The farmer's son had successfully fulfilled his childhood dream. The land which once seemed so cruel now sang a song of